Good morning. Welcome in here, out there. Hi. Another rainy autumnal Sunday. I, for one, am grateful we get closer to the sun every year. This is working out. My name is Yusara Antar, and I am president of the Board of Trustees of Mainline Unitarian Church. Be careful what you wish for. This happened because I wished on a Geminids. Did you? You know, if you wish on Geminids, it comes true. Wait till you see what else is in store. Your worship team today are these fine folks. Tina Adams is your worship associate, and genuinely one of the best people we have here. I am a little biased. Our musical guests is Pastimes, and they are Bob Purenhage and Kirsten Potter, and they are bringing back the hurdy-gurdy. You ever have, no, not today. Not today, okay. You ever have a hankering for your favorite medieval tunes, and you think, I know I'll get classical at church, but that is too contemporary. Baroque is too modern. That's Pastimes. They're bringing back early music. Thank you, Pastimes. Dawn Star Saras Borchelt is our Director of Lifespan Faith Development. Caroline Bright is back and fixed, and she is our, she's fixed. In a good way, you're healed. She is better. She is healed and she is better. She is not fixed. She does not need fixing. Caroline Bright is our ministerial intern. Reverend John is our senior minister. Who are we collectively? At this time of year, we are the only church sanctioned to turn the Yuletide gay and have those gay happy meetings. No other church can. If you're new, come chat with us. It's easier to become a member, easier now than ever. Just sign the book and then find us in coffee hour and chat with more than one of us. Chat with at least 3 different groups. Insert yourself in anyone's conversation. Get to know us. We are a welcoming community. We don't judge based on if you dress like this guy in blue right there. It's fine. You are welcomed here. No matter what you look like, how much you make, where you live, who you love, if you have children, if you have grandchildren, you have great-grandchildren. If you're 1.1 or 93, that's the cutoff, you are welcome here. We join together not because we have a shared concept of the divine. We don't have that in common. We gather because life is richer in community than alone. Some of us believe in a sacred force. Some of us don't. Some of us are content to let the mystery be. You have been welcomed. Silence your devices and affirm our mission statement with me. Together, we transform lives through love, service, and our welcoming faith.
First piece, I'd like to introduce the text because it has to do with the mystery of life and death. The song comes from the 15th century, a time when Europe was ravaged by the Black Plague, and the idea of life and death was very much on everybody's mind. And this song takes the form of a debate between life and death. And the topic of the debate is, who does the world belong to? So life starts out, and life says, the world is mine. Mine are the little flowers that bloom in the meadows. Mine are the little birds that sing in the trees. Mine are the golden rays of the sun. The world is mine. And death answers. Death answers. The world is mine. Your little birdies will die. Your little flowers will wither and wilt, and your sun will sink into the deep night. And life answers, no, the world is mine. My sun may set, but love that pervades everything can light up the darkest night. And you cannot contain love, even if you put it into a coffin made out of cold stone. And death answers, I will dig a grave deep and wide for all the dead bodies, because I invented war, famine, and the plague. The world is mine. And life answers, the world is mine. If you dig a deep grave, I will cover it with fertile soil, and I will drop my seed into it, and my little flowers will bloom again. The world is mine.
Blessed is the fire that burns deep in the soul. It is the flame of the human spirit touched into being by the mystery of life. It is the fire of reason, the fire of compassion, the fire of community, the fire of faith, the fire of justice. It is the fire of love burning deep in the human heart, the divine glow in every life. Now let us continue to fan that fire as we worship together. And please join us and rise in body or spirit as we sing our opening hymn, number 352, Find a Stillness.
There's a mirror, but I can't really see in it, so. Eva loves to look for the moon. It follows her from place to place, disappearing behind trees and mountains, and then appearing again someplace new. Look, Mama, there it is. The moon looks so beautiful in the sky. How do you think it follows us, Eva? Eva thinks about it, but she just can't figure it out. It's okay to say I don't know, says her mother. When we don't know something, we get to wonder about it. I wonder if the moon and the earth are friends, says Eva. Her mother smiles. I like that idea. But Mama, how does the moon really stay close to us? There's an invisible force called gravity that pulls all the things in the universe together, Eva's mother explains. Gravity keeps the moon close to the earth, and it keeps the planets close to the sun, too. They circle around like this. Eva understands a little better, but then she starts to wonder, Mama, where does gravity come from? I don't know, Eva. Nobody really knows for sure. And when no one knows the answer to something, it's called a mystery. Mystery is something for everyone to wonder about together. How fun. Eva imagines herself wondering about gravity together with all the people in the whole world. Eva watches the moon disappear behind the clouds as she walks, excited to see where it will appear next. How many grains of sand are there in the whole world, Mama? I wonder about that too. There are trillions and trillions of grains of sand, but nobody knows exactly how many. Eva tries to think about all the sand in the whole world. It feels so big that I can't fit it all in my imagination. It makes me feel dizzy, like I'm falling. I know what you mean, her mother agrees, and I'm sure other people feel that way too. Eva walks down another path looking for the moon, and a little orange butterfly appears. Then she notices there are butterflies everywhere. Mama, where did all of these butterflies come from? These butterflies have been flying around for a few days, but they started out as little caterpillars, and those caterpillars came from eggs, and those eggs came from other butterflies. There are cycles all around us, with one thing ending and another beginning. Things are always changing. Can you think of other things that change? Clouds, and frogs, and me. Later, Eva wonders, Mama, what was here before all the butterflies and frogs and clouds, before everything? I don't know, answers her mother. It's another mystery. I like trying to imagine what was here before the beginning of everything. What do you think was here? And Eva says, smiling, I don't know. She thinks about it for a long time, and then she has an idea. I wonder if there were feelings. As she walks home, Eva sees the moon again glowing brightly above the roof of her house. Let's go inside and look for the moon through the window. We live with some big mysteries. When we come upon one, we're given a little gift. Every mystery is something for all of us to wonder about together. What do you wonder about? Apparently I wasn't supposed to do that one. It's time for children and youth to go to their classes. We'll see you at coffee hour.
Our offering outreach partner for December is the Bruce Montgomery Foundation for the Arts. Many of you, most of you know that every month we select a local charitable or nonprofit organization to whom we give half our weekly donation collection to help them with their mission. For 50 years, Bruce Montgomery was an educator and mentor to thousands of talented students as director of performing arts at the University of Pennsylvania. His legacy lives on through this foundation by awarding Springboard grants annually to student individuals that are in high school through college and student organizations in the Philadelphia area to pursue excellence in the performing arts. The foundation provides funds for activities that often fall outside the parameters of educational scholarships awarded by most grants. With schools being forced to drastically reduce their budgets for the arts, this type of assistance offered by this foundation is very important. Their mission aligns with the first UU principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. The foundation promotes and celebrates the gifts of being human, specifically our sense and ability to appreciate beauty and creativity. May generosity always be the spirit of this congregation. If you'd like to make a cashless donation, you may do so in person or remotely by following the instructions on the screen or using the Give link on our church website. The offering will now be gratefully received.
Everything changed. It's a mystery.
Because we care. Good enough for early music.
These are violas da gamba and they have gut strings, so they change
At will.
at will, at will.
Tuning song.
Tuning song. We'll play the tuning song first, just to make sure we're good.
Now invite the ushers to bring our gifts forward. How often do we get to see the magic of medieval history happen right here? Wonderful. So as has become our practice recently in this congregation, I invite you to join me in reciting our affirmation of gratitude for these gifts that we gratefully receive. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for all those who share their gifts, for we are enriched by their giving. And let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may learn from the generosity of others.
Candles of Community is our ritual of sharing and supporting one another on a personal level. After each candle is lit, please join me in saying, "We hold you in our hearts." On a typical night, 549,000 Americans are unhoused. We light our first candle of concern and love for any people who live this way as winter is approaching. For those that live this way, we hold you in our hearts. Dana Wiley would like to light a candle for John Mason, a former member with Marion Caroselli. I'm trying to read his. Dana, can you tell me? I can't quite read what yours. He had a badly infected hip. John had a badly infected hip and will be on long-term antibiotics. She wishes that he be free of pain. For John and his family, we hold you in our hearts. Our own Kathy Landay would like 2 candles lit today. Kathy, are you here? No, not today. For the first candle, she says, "It is my great joy that my husband Mert has come home after being hospitalized and in rehab since November 10th. Yeah. I know she was really, really worried about him. And she continues, "My second candle is to express my gratitude to the most loving, supportive church community I could ever imagine. I have not felt alone and have always felt safe. For Mert and Kathy, we hold you in our hearts." We light our final candle for any joys, concerns, or sorrows that remain unspoken or are too deep for words. And always, we hold you in our hearts. My reading today is adapted from a very well-loved and often covered song from the 1990s, written by American singer-songwriter and musician Iris DeMent. It's called "Let the Mystery Be." Everybody is wondering what and where they all came from. Everybody is wondering about where they're going to go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain. And so it's all the same to me. I think I'll just let the mystery be. Some say they're going to a place called glory. And I ain't saying it ain't a fact, but I've heard that I'm on the road to purgatory. And I don't like the sound of that. I believe in love, and I live my life accordingly. But I choose to let the mystery be.
Letting the mystery be is probably one of the more difficult things we do as searching, questioning people. We've all had occasions in our lives when we had to let the mystery be, even though we didn't want to. One of my most memorable experiences with this mystery of the universe, shall we call it, was during the birth of our first biological daughter, a long and difficult home birth that Frances barely survived. After 36 hours of labor, Courtney finally came into the world, and I thought of this last night as I was singing carols in Silent Night, and they talk about the child of light. I don't let this get to her head, but I really thought she was the child of light. That night, that long night, I experienced something incredible which shot through me and left me with a voice in my head which said, begin. Begin? Begin what? I pondered this beginning for a long time. I wondered what it was I was supposed to be beginning. I thought that's all I was doing was beginning and ending and beginning again. I followed that voice, that word, into seminary. Seminary was not easy for me in my first year. I'd been out of school for a while, and those of you who've gone back to graduate school will know that they use words that are so big. Honestly, I had no idea what the hermeneutics of suspicion actually meant. But I was supposed to be beginning something, and then in the beginning of my second year, we were living in a little town in northern Indiana, and my next door neighbor, who was a street sweeper in one of those street sweeping machines, had gone deaf and stepped out from the front of his street sweeper to check something and was killed by a car instantly. I don't know why that hit me so hard, but it did. I thought about continuing on. At this point, what meager savings we had, I'd already spent. I wondered whether this was really a good idea. And that very night, as I was walking through the cold streets of Chicago, waiting on the platform for a train, I heard the voice again. And this time it said, "Go on." And again, that's vague enough for me to say, what, go on quitting seminary, or go on home, or go get a hot chocolate? I don't know, go what? Go on. This mystery, this voice that reverberates in my head every so often drives me on with messages that have become a little louder, although I'm not certain any more certain. I ask myself often, mental illness or the voice of the angels? Maybe a little bit of both. This, of course, is the time of darkness, isn't it? This is the time when we are looking at the world as the light recedes, and we're waiting with expectation within the metaphor of the Christ child that we will be born again, as life always is. I am by faith, and I've described this to you often for those of you who've asked what I believe. I've described myself as an enchanted agnostic with mystical tendencies. I've always liked that label. It kind of makes people chuckle and then they leave you alone. I used to have a bumper sticker that read, "I'm a radical agnostic. I don't know and you don't either." But in fact, perhaps this agnosticism and mysticism is a sort of halfway house to the God I want to believe in, but find so hard and so unsettling given the state of the world. The theologian Catherine Keller said, "Naming is the origin of all particular things." Free from desire, she said, you realize mystery. Caught in desire, you see manifestations. Yet the desire and the manifestations all come out of darkness into light. Darkness within darkness towards light. One of the 99 names of God in Islam is the Hidden One. Zen Buddhist koans and other exercises help us understand this experience as a paradox. For many years, as a good Unitarian, I had a hard time with the idea of the Trinity. How could the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit all be in one? Until an old priest, Catholic priest, told me, "You're trying to think it out. It's not meant to be thought out. It's meant to be a paradox." Our human definition of everything gives us, at best, I think, a tiny penlight into the vastness of the universe. Carl Sagan, who is known for so many things, once asserted that if we ever reach the point where we think we thoroughly understand who we are and where we came from, we will likely have failed. The universe has more mystery than we can understand. And indeed, anyone who does any physics at all will tell you things keep turning up that don't make any sense. This must be what Rilke meant when he said that we should live the questions rather than the answers. And yet there's this one common denominator across all of human history. And that denominator is to know the unknowable, isn't it? We see uncertainty as the enemy of humankind. So what I'd like to do, we haven't done this in a while, is for you to turn to your neighbor and answer a question. What mystery would you like answered? Big question. And you've got 3 minutes to figure it out. Talk. All right. You know, I always worry that you won't want to say anything. It never happens. Let's hear, just shout out a couple of mysteries you'd like answered. Anybody here? Too big. The Big Bang. Before the Big Bang? Yeah, great. Anybody else? A black hole. What is a black hole? Guess we'll never know. I don't know. How to get rid of cravings. Ooh. That's a good one. Gene. Man's humanity to man. How about women? Inhumanity. Yeah, well, there you go. That's a good one, especially now in the back. Yes. Yes. What is our teenager thinking? That's great. Is our teenager thinking? The poet Henry Annell once said, "It's better to let the mystery have its place in you and not always be turning up the soil of your life with the plow of self-examination, but to leave a fallow corner in your heart ready for any seed that the wind may bring." Those who have been married a long time will tell you that there's always a little surprise that you can't imagine your beloved having. "Who are you?" my wife says to me sometimes. "I thought I knew every little thing about you." And then there's some secret corner that you lift up. You can't always know what that corner is, though, and it's sometimes a wise person to let the corner be. There's an old Persian fable in which a man, after many months away, returns home to find his home in great disarray. His servant comes to the door and meets him there and says, "Master, while you were away, your wife received a large box, big enough to hold a man. She had it delivered to her chambers. I've asked her to let me see what's in the box, but she refuses." The man dismisses the servant and goes directly to his wife. The large box is sitting in the middle of the floor. After they embrace, he asks his wife about the box. "Will you permit me to see what's inside the box?" he asks her. "No," replies his wife. "Then will you tell me what's in the box?" he asks her. "No," again comes the reply. He thinks for a moment. He says, "What then, beloved, are we to do with this box that has come between us when we vowed to not hold any secrets?" His wife thinks for a moment and then says, "Bury the box." "Bury the box?" the man said. "Are you sure?" "Yes," she says, "bury the box." Immediately, the man calls for the servants to take the box into the garden, dig a deep hole, and bury the box. And it is never spoken of again. There are times when a mystery is better left alone. This little fable is used in my marriage all the time. It's a remarkably powerful way to move on. Now, I'm sure some of you have radically different ideas about this. Some would say, of course, it was never the husband's business to know what was in the box. It was hers. Others would say it should have been opened right away. After all, no secrets, right? Others would say, but what if there was someone in the box? But the mystery was left alone. For me, I think the story, the fable, poses a deeper question. Must we expose everything that is hidden? Must we understand the solution to every mystery in the universe? It is said that we're only as sick as our secrets, but it's also said that mystery is not a problem to be solved, but a wonder to ponder. As a people, as we are, as Unitarian Universalists committed to the unending search for truth and meaning in our lives, we are often troubled by what we don't know. In fact, so troubled are we that we sometimes fill in the blanks. This is especially true in church politics. You don't know something, so you make something up, and that becomes a rumor, and that's never good. You see, we're a radically bottom-line society. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But is that enlightenment? Karl Rahner once said, "What is called knowledge is a small island in a vast sea of mystery." Hence, the question for the knower is this: what do you love more, the island of knowledge or the sea of the mystery? I propose that it's better to accept the mystery than to anxiously wonder what it all means. Sometimes it's better to be open to the mystery than to be anxious towards its solution. I can't tell you why someone has cancer, and I can't tell you why some children are born with deformities. But I do know that while the reasons are unknown, maybe someday known, maybe mysterious, the solutions are not. Perhaps the wife buried the box rather than let the contents get in the way of their love. Simple human companionship is still the best tonic for suffering. Acts of justice still make a difference in the world. Can you hear me? In fact, I've come to believe that knowing why there is suffering is almost beside the point now, because really what we want to know is what we're going to do about it. That's the call to service. What are you going to do about it? Perhaps it's some way we can't do anything, and then we really wonder why God is so silent, if there is a God. Perhaps it's not the God that is being silent, but our hands that need to do the work of the God. There is comfort for me in knowing that everything in the universe holds more surprises. Pico Ayler once said that knowledge is the precious gift, but the illusion of knowledge can be dangerous. And there are times when all of us have thought we had too little knowledge and felt overwhelmed by it. Overwhelmed by moments of suffering, overwhelmed by the needs of our lives, overwhelmed by where we are going and what lies in store. I know when I am overwhelmed by church and family, and I can't imagine going on, I walk outside on a starry night and I gaze up at the billions of stars separated by unimaginable forces and distances, and I realize that perhaps that's not my worry to figure out after all. If I were a stronger believer in God, I might just use the old phrase, leave it to God, let it be. And there are moments when I feel so empowered by the vastness of the universe that I feel like Isaiah standing at the wilderness altar and saying, here I am, take me. But of course, the universe, the divinity, life doesn't take us. It sends us. It sends us into life again to look one more time for the answers that are not always so obvious, being willing to accept the mystery, to struggle with what is before us, the impenetrable holy moment of the here and the now. It was the Unitarian Emily Dickinson who wrote from her study window in a house she rarely left. The brain is wider than the sky, she wrote, for put them side by side, the one the other will include, with ease and you beside. The brain is deeper than the sea, for hold them blue to blue, the one the other will absorb, as sponges and buckets do. The brain is just the weight of God, for lift them pound for pound, and they will differ if they do, as syllable from sound. All that being said, we always want to stretch to learn more, and we should. Because wonder calls us to explore, to create, to witness the power of what we don't understand, and then, perhaps most importantly, to do something about that. Tom Owen Toll, colleague and friend of mine, said that Unitarian Universalists, if they were honest about it, really are free-thinking mystics with hands. That's a wonderful phrase. I use it often. I think about it a lot. The real power of accepting mystery is that we attempt to practice things in new ways. Many years ago, a woman came to me, somewhat distraught. She'd been to about a dozen churches, synagogues. She went to a Buddhist center, even a mosque, in search of some guiding light in her life. She had just been divorced by a husband who ran off with a younger woman, and she had breast cancer. We were, she told me, that church, we were her last hope. Unitarian Universalists under you in the phone book, the last of the yellow pages. She'd come and heard the sermon that morning, and while she appreciated the discussion on how we might save the planet, what she really wanted to do was save herself. Perfectly rational, questions for someone who is dealing with a great crisis in their life. Why me? Is there a lesson here? How do I go on? She and I talked for a long time, mostly me listening, and she asked me at one point if I believed in God. God, I hate that question. I said I believe in a power greater than all of us and present in each. That's what I would call God. This was clearly an unsatisfactory answer for her. Well, would you tell your power in each and everything that I'm falling apart down here? Now she had tears in her eyes. I said, why don't you tell her? Did you say her? I did. I said her. Her, him, it. Doesn't really matter, does it? Just imagine the force is a point of light out there. Imagine it's the sun, and you're looking at that, and you go ahead and tell that power everything that's going on in your life. And at that point, it turned into a prayer, which went on for a long time. When she was done, I asked how she was feeling about all that, and she said better, but do you think God was listening? And I said, who knows? That's really not the point of prayer. Point of prayer is actually to help the inner you find strength amidst difficult times, and to know that you are held by other people, that you are held by communities, because we are the hands of that mystery. We make that love happen. We are the answer to the prayer. As time went on, she became a pillar of that church. She survived her cancer. She remarried to someone who really did deserve her. And she acknowledged, I think, that it's possible to both search for the mystery and to be content to let the mystery be. There's the paradox again. At the end of the day, all that really mattered was that she still had that little image of a point of light that she would focus her prayers upon. She was the one who brought up the old Jedi saying, if you watch Star Wars, there's a Jedi saying, a solution will present itself. I love that line. It's a management style for me. A solution will present itself. If you've ever wondered why it takes me a while to answer you, it's because I'm waiting for the solution to present itself. But even if that solution is the end of our lives, is that not necessarily a bad thing if we've been able to live as we should? You see, you can't judge a book by its cover, a wine by its label, or a person by their size. There's more mystery in each of us yet to be discovered. I still hear that voice from time to time, especially now that I'm with you all here, so I wonder what that means. Maybe there's something here that we're supposed to do that is incredibly powerful, a mission, if you will. My own journey, as you now know, has taken me from a fierce rationalism to the healing balm of a Christian community to a Buddhist Sangha. I have chanted with Hindus, prayed with Muslims, meditated with Buddhists, and walked in nature with Thoreau. Indeed, this is a remarkable place to pursue what I would consider to be the ministry of discovery, because right here you have many meditation groups. Some congregations are trying to get just one going, but you have a whole bunch, which says something about you. It says you're willing to let the mystery be a bit. But more than that, we have each other to discover the mystery in music, to understand the mystery in singing, to understand the mystery in simply being with one another, even when there are no words to say. There are no words to say, and we let go and let in. Pico Eiler said that we're only as strong as our willingness to surrender. We're only as strong as our willingness to surrender. And if you're able to do it and surrender to your faults and to your imperfections, to embrace humility and to love one another, you're actually doing the spiritual work that you were called to do. The voice still calls me on, and perhaps it is mental illness after all, but then aren't most creative people just a little bit crazy? I do believe that when she joined our church, this woman became open to the transcending mystery of the universe. trusting and falling into the arms of the divine, however we want to vision that, may be as good as it gets. It's certainly more honest than mouthing platitudes to an unknown God. Just before I left that congregation, the woman sent me a card. It's a beautiful card, and on this card was a picture of a Tibetan monk, an old Tibetan monk staring at a bell atop a shining mountain. And in the bell there was a crack. And inside she inscribed these transcending words many of you know from Leonard Cohen. Leonard Cohen, the songwriter who throughout his life would spend his days not in Hollywood, but on top of Mount Baldy above Los Angeles as the servant to an ancient monk. He wrote these words: "Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. So may it be, now and always. Amen." Our closing hymn is 1011, number 1011, Return Again. I would invite you, the congregation, to rise in body and or spirit.
As you, free-thinking mystics with hands, go out into the world, may you find peace in the mystery. May you find solace in the unknown in this season of light and joy and darkness and sorrow, where it all comes together at the same time. But most of all, may you be blessed. Now I invite you to sit and enjoy our beautiful postlude as we conclude today's service.